Hey y'all, here at OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at the XGoodie T88. This is a tablet that's geared towards kids, can also be used as a low-cost family tablet because there is a normal Android mode and then a kid mode that will limit the apps that a child can access. It sells for around $75, which is relatively low cost. It's going to be a little more rugged than a typical tablet because of the durable casing as well as the rubber accents. Running on Android 11, has 32 gigs of storage, 3 gigs of RAM, 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, along with a HD plus resolution display, which is all pretty expected for this price point, and does come with a sizable 4,800 milliamp hour capacity battery, at least for an 8-inch tablet. So of course, inside we have just the tablet itself, along with a USB Type-C charging cable. We also get a USB Type-C to Type-A OTG cable, since this device does allow you to also plug in things like thumb drives. And then aside from a wall adapter, there's just a quick user guide, along with a additional screen protector, although one comes pre-applied out of the box. So taking a closer look at the design here, again, it is similar to just having a regular 8-inch tablet wrapped in a pretty thick and durable case. It's permanently attached and can't be removed to make the device smaller, but we have these rubber bumpers, which again will absorb some shock if it gets dropped accidentally. There's these oversized keys for things like power and volume located on the front, and then somewhat surprisingly, you also get front-facing speakers, which is actually great for, again, making the audio a little bit louder and more satisfying. On the left-hand side, there's a standard 3.5mm headphone jack, micro SD card slot to expand the memory, and USB Type-C for charging. And then this is what the back looks like, so it's really going with this whole underwater theme and just a pretty cute, playful appearance with this octopus. We have just the rear-facing cam, and then the legs of the octopus also dubs as a kickstand, which is relatively stiff and seems to hold the weight decently if you set it onto a table. When you are done, you can then just fold it back in and then it snaps shut. So overall, it doesn't feel too cheap or flimsy. It's a polycarbonate plastic, but has a pretty good rigidity to it. This is competing with, there's also Amazon Fire tablets, which are geared towards kids, and what Amazon does is basically put them into a bumper case. So inside we have a relatively clean version of Android 11 if you are in the regular Android mode. And there are the standard Google apps which come pre-installed, including a few which are the Go edition of the apps just to become even more lightweight. I would say surprisingly for a budget tablet, it's really not bad in terms of the overall usability. This is actually a little faster than some of the really rock bottom Android tablets that we've seen. Swipe gestures at least aren't too slow to respond, and everything in terms of just waking it up and generally using it definitely feels a little bit faster than I was thinking. And then to switch into the kid interface, you need to tap on the iWawa, and then after doing that, it will then load into the specific kind of skin or really launcher that is designed for kids. Now, if they wanted to then exit out of this, they would need to enter a password that you can set. It will basically kick us back out into the regular Android experience that you see there. But within this particular skin, there's a lot of things actually happening. Once you log in, you see that the entire UI changes very dramatically. All the icons are a lot larger, similar to products from Leapfrog as well as Kano that we've seen in the past. It just makes it a little bit easier to hit these targets and for children to be more attractive to all the colors and icons. It's actually a pretty comprehensive ROM in terms of the level of customization that's going on here. For instance, if we wanted to take a look at brain training and we tap over there, you'll be able to find some specific programs which are helping your child in terms of memory, observation skills, reaction skills, as well as focus and logic. And all of these particular, let's say, programs, if we want to tap on one, it will then request and take a few moments to download that resource. So here's an example of another coloring app that has been downloaded, and you can then just tap on these kind of characters and it just becomes pretty interactive. All of these apps are not pre-installed out of the box, but rather they give you the option to download them if you want to. So it doesn't take up quite as much space out of the box, but may require a few minutes for you to then actually get started in terms of installing everything, which means that the setup process may require a little bit of patience, at least when you first take it out of the box. When the child clicks on an icon, it will take probably a minute or two for some of those games and apps and content to fully download. But really, aside from that, I have to say the curated list of content is surprisingly comprehensive, something I wasn't expecting out of a again, a brand that is known more for budget tech. I was expecting something to just really come with this case, and that would be it. But as you can tell, there's a lot of pretty custom games and content going on, including their own version of a calculator app that is much larger and easier to hit, matches the entire aesthetic. You also get other utility tools, including a browser app, which allows you to limit what types of sites the child is able to access. The App Store even comes with a separate catalog of select games for kids that they are able to download, and it tells you kind of the recommended age for that type of content. Also access the camera from here as well, which will also give the child a little bit more of a playful filter that they can interact with. Going into some of these other menus, Montessori also gives it a few other types of apps that they can play with for kindergartners and preschool students. However, like I said, some of these content will require a little bit of patience in terms of fully downloading, since it's accessing them from, I believe, XGoody servers. Under STEM, you'll find some additional content here. Again, teaching kids some basic concepts related to physical sciences, life sciences, and earth sciences. You won't find necessarily course content that is more for middle school students, things that are going to be more advanced. So with that being said, if we exit out of this particular interface, here's an example of loading back a clip here on YouTube, and overall it's not bad in terms of the speed. And we can watch back the video. Alright, so turning the volume down there, a few takeaways being that it is an IPS display, so viewing angles are really not bad, but it's not a laminated screen. There's not too many issues, but of course it's not the highest quality panel in the world, but definitely serviceable. There's a little bit of light leakage on the side, that's just due to that non-laminated screen technology, but overall it's not too distracting, and as far as being able to show off colors and being visible enough for kids to play with, I think it does the trick and doesn't look too low res, at least because of the, again, 720p resolution that we are basically looking at here. So interacting with video content for the most part is decent. The battery life is also quite good, again thanks to the 720p resolution combined with the pretty large capacity. This is a tablet that will get you easily 2 to 3 days, if not longer, of usage before you need to recharge it again, and overall standby time is also excellent. In terms of overnight, it dropped less than 3% charge even with Wi-Fi turned on. And really the same thing goes with general web browsing as well, because the Wi-Fi reception dual band is doing a decent job. It may not be, say, lightning fast, but does get the job done. So for things like, for instance, if you want to check out some quick news articles, maybe use it like a family or a kitchen tablet even, it will be all right in those cases. Load up some YouTube or Netflix while you maybe look up a recipe, because it's a bit more rugged in nature and the speakers are turning facing you. It's actually not a, again, poor experience for a super low-cost tablet. So at the end of the day, again, slightly improved processor and RAM, I think, are definitely helping the overall experience. So that's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of this XGoody T88 8-inch Android tablet for kids, and I have to say I was a little bit more impressed than I initially thought that I would be. Initially, I feared it would be a pretty generic product that just has a more rugged appearance and that would be it, but it looks like they have been actually quite thoughtful in terms of the collection of apps that it comes bundled with. The content is really not shabby for what it is, and the overall build, as well as the fluidity of just navigating around, is also a little faster than I was initially thinking. So if you are after just a tablet, again, primarily for younger kids to play with, something maybe just to put in the kitchen even, this is not a bad choice as long as you are keeping your expectations tempered. So you can check out more details if you're interested in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.